Your soul is crying out for focus, yet your mind is drowning in relentless noise. Every day it's a battlefield, scrolling, comparing, doubting, wasting hours on distractions while your dreams gather dust in the background. You feel drained, overwhelmed, and haunted by a question: is this all there is? But what if I told you that 2,600 years ago, a powerful weapon was forged to cut through distraction, silence the chaos, and make focus your superpower? Ancient Buddhist masters didn't have apps or shortcuts, yet they cracked the code of the human mind, mastering suffering, cultivating inner peace, and living with razor-sharp purpose. Their wisdom isn't locked away in temples. It's here, in this video. You're about to unlock 6 forgotten lessons that will obliterate guilt, destroy procrastination, and rewire your brain to crave discipline over dopamine. Imagine a focus so unshakable that you outperform anyone without burning out. But this isn't about feel-good quotes. These are mind-shifting truths, like the monk who meditated by a waterfall for 9 years to master concentration, or the samurai who honed a single sword strike 10,000 times. This is about ruthless self-mastery. You'll uncover the single phrase Buddha used to erase anxiety in 10 seconds, why suffering is your greatest teacher, and how to use it as a weapon, a powerful ritual to eliminate toxic habits permanently. This isn't self-help. This is a self-revolution. If you're ready to stop being a prisoner of your own mind and take control, pay attention. Your future self is watching. Will you rise or will you let them down? Lesson 1. The potter's wheel of karma. Life is like clay spinning on a potter's wheel, shapeless at first, but full of infinite potential. You are the potter. Your choices, actions, and discipline shape what you become. Yet most people blame fate, luck, or circumstances beyond their control. They wait for life to mold itself, unaware that the power to shape it has always been in their hands. In Buddhism, karma isn't about luck. It's intentional action. Every thought, every choice, every response is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. Blaming others for your struggles is like letting someone else sculpt your clay. It robs you of power. But responsibility, that's not a burden, it's the ultimate freedom. It is freedom. The moment you take full ownership of your life, you reclaim the power to shape it. Buddha once said, "You are the heir to your actions. Whatever you sow, you reap." Let that sink in. Every challenge you face is a reflection of something you either created, allowed, or ignored. But this realization isn't meant to shame you. It's meant to awaken you. Because if your past choices built today's reality, your present choices can build a new future. Imagine waking up each morning and declaring, "Today, I create my reality." How would that shift the way you show up? Would you still let distractions pull you away from your goals? Would you still waste time waiting for someone else to fix things for you? And before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I contribute to today's challenges? This practice isn't about guilt. It's about clarity. Because when you take radical ownership of your actions, you take radical control of your life. So ask yourself, what clay are you letting others mold for you? Are you shaping your life with intention, or are you allowing external forces, society, fear, opinions, to dictate its form? How different would your reality look if you owned 100% of your choices? The potter's wheel keeps spinning. The question is, will you take control and shape your life? Or will you let the clay harden into something you never intended? The bridge of right intention life is a bridge suspended over turbulent waters. On one side, uncertainty, regret, and stagnation. On the other, clarity, purpose, and fulfillment. The only way across is by laying down planks, each one a conscious goal, a deliberate step forward. But here's the truth. Most people never build their bridge. They stand at the edge, lost in vague wishes, waiting for direction to appear. But direction isn't found, it's created. Buddhism teaches the principle of right intention, the foundation of the Noble Eightfold Path, a guide to wise living. At its core, it reveals a simple yet profound truth. Clarity of purpose eliminates suffering. Think about that. Most pain in life doesn't come from failure. It comes from hesitation, from wandering without a map, from chasing things that were never meant for you. The Buddha taught, a disciplined mind brings happiness. Because when your mind is scattered, your energy is wasted. You chase distractions, compare yourself to others, and wonder why life feels directionless. But when your mind is focused, when you act with clear intention, you stop drifting and start building. Too many people set goals like fragile paper boats, vague, weak, easily sunk. They say, "I want to be successful," but never define what success means to them. They say, "I want to be happy." But happiness isn't a destination. It's the result of how you live each day. This is why Buddhist wisdom urges specificity. Your goals must be the planks of your bridge, not just hopes, but solid steps forward. Instead of saying, "I want to be healthier," declare, "I am someone who nourishes my body and mind." Instead of saying, "I want to start a business," affirm, "I am a mindful entrepreneur, creating with purpose." Build your bridge with intention, walk across with clarity, and on the other side, you'll find the life you were meant to live. Build with intent, not wishes. When you write your goals as "I am" statements, you do more than think about change. You become the change. So ask yourself, is your bridge built on vague wishes, or is it crafted with precise blueprints? Are your dreams structured with clear, actionable steps, or are they just drifting thoughts in your mind? Because every day you hesitate, the bridge remains unfinished, and the waters of doubt rise higher. But here's the secret. The first plank is always the hardest. The moment you define your goal with absolute clarity, you create momentum. So what would you dare to achieve if doubt disappeared? Picture yourself standing on the other side of that bridge, looking back at who you are today. Would your future self thank you for the steps you took, for the planks you laid? Or would they still be waiting at the edge, lost in uncertainty? Focus on your path. Build with intention. Step forward with purpose. One plank at a time. The forge of self-mastery. Your mind is a forge, an ancient blacksmith's workshop where raw metal is shaped into something unbreakable. But here's the truth most people ignore. Fire is required. Without heat, iron stays weak. Without effort, potential remains untapped. And without discipline, the mind stays fragile, bending to every distraction, every impulse, every fleeting doubt. You are the blacksmith of your destiny. The question is, will you forge yourself into something strong, or will you let yourself rust? Buddhist monks dedicate entire lifetimes to mastering the mind because they understand one simple truth. Growth is not optional. Stagnation is suffering. This is the essence of dukkha, the dissatisfaction that arises when we resist change, avoid challenge, and remain stuck in old patterns. Yet so many people wait for life to improve while feeding their minds nothing but distractions. They upgrade their phones, their cars, their wardrobes, but never upgrade themselves. The Buddha once said, "Irrigators guide water, fletchers shape arrows, blacksmiths refine metal, and the wise discipline their own minds." So ask yourself, are you shaping your mind with purpose or letting it be shaped by everything around you? The fire is already burning. Step into it. Forge yourself into something unbreakable. The wise master. Themselves think about that. Water doesn't carve its path on its own. It is guided. Arrows don't fly true by accident. They are shaped. And the mind? It doesn't reach mastery through passive existence. It must be refined, sharpened, and disciplined. You either shape your mind, or the world will shape it for you. If you often feel overwhelmed, distracted, or restless, the reason is simple. Your forge is cold. You aren't feeding the fire. Social media, mindless entertainment, endless scrolling. These aren't just distractions. They are thieves. They steal your focus, weaken your resolve, and leave your potential untouched. But what if instead of giving your attention to things that drain you, you redirected it towards something that builds you? Imagine replacing just 15 minutes of social media with reading one Buddhist sutra each day. That's not just knowledge, that's transformation. In a year, your mind wouldn't just be informed, it would be trained, disciplined, and sharp like a blade forged in fire. Now ask yourself, what skill, if mastered, would change your life? Is it resilience, focus, emotional discipline? Picture the version of you who has conquered that skill. The clarity in their eyes, the steadiness in their heart. That version of you isn't a fantasy. They are waiting on the other side of discipline. And here's the question you need to answer today. What if your next upgrade wasn't your phone, but your mind? What if instead of chasing temporary distractions, you invested in your own self-mastery? The fire is waiting. The forge is ready. Will you step into the heat? The archer's discipline. An archer does not hit the target by chance. They stand firm. They align their stance. They steady their breath. And only then, with precision, do they release the arrow. Discipline is the stance. Focus is the arrow. Your goals are the target. But here's the truth. Most people never hit their mark. Not because they lack talent. Not because they aren't capable. The archer's discipline. An archer doesn't hit the target by chance. They stand firm. They align their stance. They steady their breath. And only then, with precision, do they release the arrow. Discipline is the stance. Focus is the arrow. Your goals are the target. But most people never hit their mark. Not because they lack talent. Not because they aren't capable. But because they never hold their stance long enough. They waver. They rush. They quit. Buddhism teaches the principle of ethical discipline. But discipline is not about restriction. It is about creating a framework strong enough to support your freedom. Imagine a river with no banks. It floods, directionless, destroying everything in its path. But when given structure, it flows with power, carving through mountains. Your habits, your routines, your daily discipline. These are the banks that guide the river of your life. The Buddha once said, "Drop by drop, the water pot fills." Likewise, the wise accumulate goodness little by little. Think about that. Success, wisdom, focus. These are not built in grand, sweeping moments. They are the result of small, consistent actions, repeated until they become who you are. Yet most people underestimate the power of tiny acts. They think 5 minutes of meditation is too little to matter. They believe reading 1 page of wisdom daily won't change them. But just like a single drop of water seems insignificant, over time, it fills the pot. Over time, it reshapes you. The mistake most people make? Waiting for motivation. But motivation is like the wind, unreliable. Discipline is the archer's stance. It keeps you steady, even when the wind shifts. The secret? Attach new habits to existing routines. Don't just say, "I'll start meditating." Instead, link it to something you already do. Brush your teeth, meditate for 5 minutes, right after. Drink coffee. Write down 3 things you're grateful for before the first sip. When habits are anchored to something familiar, they become automatic. They become part of you. Now ask yourself, what daily arrow are you failing to release? What's the one small habit, the one drop of effort that could transform your life if repeated daily? Because no archer hits the target without practice. No river carves valleys without time. And no mind finds clarity without discipline. So what's one habit that would revolutionize your year? Picture yourself a year from now. More focused, more disciplined, more in control. That version of you? They are built one drop at a time, one arrow at a time, one habit at a time. Will you take the shot? The riverbank of equanimity, life is a river, unpredictable and untamed. Some days, the waters are calm, carrying you effortlessly forward. Other days, they rage, pulling you under, dragging you into currents of stress, doubt, and frustration. The riverbank of equanimity. Most people spend their lives fighting the current, exhausting themselves over things they cannot control. But true wisdom is not found in resisting the river. It is found in becoming the riverbank, steady, grounded, unshaken. Buddhism teaches equanimity, the art of balance. It is the ability to remain unmoved by external chaos because your foundation is within. This is where Buddhism meets Stoicism, where peace is not found in changing the world, but in anchoring yourself in what you control. The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Yet most people search for peace in all the wrong places. They try to control other people. They obsess over the future. They agonize over the past. They fight against the river instead of standing firm on the bank. The truth is, there are only 3 things you can ever control: your breath, your effort, your ethics, everything else. It's just water. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control the storms of life, but you can control how you prepare for them. And yet how often do we waste energy on things outside our reach? The opinions of strangers, the expectations of society, the mistakes of the past. But what if instead of trying to control the uncontrollable, you mastered what was already within your grasp? Here's a simple practice. When stress rises, ask yourself, is this mine to solve? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, visualize placing it in the river and letting it drift away. Imagine watching your worries float downstream, dissolving into the flow. Because the more energy you waste on what you cannot change, the less power you have to shape what you can. So ask yourself, what river are you trying to swim against? The need for validation, the fear of uncertainty, the desire to control outcomes that were never yours to dictate? Now imagine how much energy you would reclaim if you simply let go, if you stopped fighting, and instead stood firm. Because true focus is not just about where you direct your attention. It's about what you choose to release. The river will always move. The world will always change. But your power is not in stopping the current. It is in standing strong, grounded in what is truly yours. Will you keep struggling against the flow? Or will you become the riverbank, steady, unshaken, and free? The phoenix of right view fire destroys, but it also creates the forests that burn. They grow back stronger. The metal that melts in the forge, it is reforged into unbreakable steel. And the phoenix, it does not fear the flames. It embraces them, because from the ashes it rises, not weaker, but wiser. Life will burn you. Failure, heartbreak, loss. These are the flames. Most people fear them. They run from discomfort. They avoid risks. They hide from pain. But Buddhism teaches right view, the ability to see clearly, to reframe suffering, to recognize that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us, what breaks you is often what builds you. Think about your own life. The setbacks that felt like endings, the rejections that cut deep, the failures that shook your confidence. What if they weren't punishments, but preparations? What if instead of being buried, you were being planted? Every great transformation is preceded by a trial. The fire isn't there to destroy you. It's there to refine you. So when life knocks you down, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Instead ask, how is this happening for me? This shift in perspective changes everything. The failed business, it forced you to innovate. The broken relationship, it taught you self-worth. The lost opportunity, it redirected you towards something greater. Every setback carries the seed of rebirth, if you choose to see it that way. A simple practice. After every failure, write down one sentence. This happened for me because... fill in the blank. Maybe it's teaching you resilience. Maybe it's revealing a truth you ignored. Maybe it's clearing the path for something better. At first, your mind will resist, because pain demands blame. But when you shift from victim to student, every loss becomes a lesson. Every fire becomes fuel. So ask yourself, what fire are you avoiding that could rebirth you? What challenge? What risk? What difficult truth are you running from? Because in reality, it is the very thing that could transform you. No phoenix rises without first facing the flames. No person grows without first facing struggle. The fire is inevitable. The only question is, will you let it consume you? Or will you rise from the ashes? Will you let it consume you or refine you? Your greatest failures are not roadblocks. They are divine redirections. What if your worst moment was not the end, but the beginning? What if years from now, you look back and realize, this fire was the moment you were reborn? Will you fear the flames, or will you rise from them? The lighthouse of prioritization. A lighthouse does not chase ships. It does not flicker uncertainly. It does not move with the tides. It stands firm, unwavering, shining its light so that others may find their way. But most people, they are not lighthouses. They are lost in the storm, pulled by distractions, swayed by obligations, saying yes to everything and wondering why they feel directionless. Focus is not just about what you do. It's about what you refuse to do. The Zen practice of Ichigyo-zamai, total immersion. Zen teaches Ichigyo-zamai, complete presence in one task. It is the discipline of doing one thing with your full being, not half-heartedly, not while multitasking, but with absolute immersion. Yet in today's world, people wear busyness like a badge of honor. They jump from task to task, check notifications constantly, answer messages on impulse, chase the urgent while neglecting the important. And in the process, they fracture their focus, weaken their will, dilute their purpose. The Zen masters had a simple mantra. When walking, walk. When eating, eat. It sounds obvious, but think. When was the last time you truly did only one thing at a time? The power of deep focus. Every yes to distraction is a no to mastery. Every moment lost in triviality is a moment stolen from your legacy. The greatest minds in history did not succeed by doing more. They succeeded by doing less, but better. Bruce Lee once said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. This is the essence of deep focus. Stop scattering your energy across meaningless pursuits, and instead, pour it into something that matters. A simple practice, the distraction jar every time something tempts you away from your task. A random thought, a notification, an urge to check emails. Write it down, put it in a distraction jar. At the end of the day, review the list. You'll realize most distractions are illusions, mere ripples on the water that seemed important in the moment but meant nothing in the long run. This one habit alone can sharpen your focus and reclaim hours of your life. What shore is your lighthouse? Guiding others to? Are you leading with clarity, or are you drifting, lost in the storm of distractions? Because here's the truth. Every time you chase what doesn't matter, you move further from what does. Every time you choose busyness over purpose, your true work remains undone. So ask yourself, what masterpiece goes unfinished because your focus is stolen by noise? What legacy dies each time you say yes to the insignificant? The world is full of distractions, but you are not a ship tossed by the waves. You are the lighthouse. Stand firm, shine your light, guide your own life to shore. Quick summary of the 6 lessons. The potter's wheel of karma. Your choices shape your life. Stop blaming others. Own your actions like clay on a wheel. The bridge of right. Intention, vague goals lead nowhere. Write them as I am statements to align with purpose. The forge of self-mastery. Upgrade your mind daily. Replace distractions with wisdom. Iron sharpens iron. The archer's discipline. Tiny habits, like a 5-minute meditation, compound into unshakable focus, discipline, consistency, intensity, the riverbank of equanimity. Let chaos flow like water. Control only your effort, ethics, and energy. The phoenix of right view burns setbacks into wisdom. Suffering isn't punishment, it's your teacher. You are not here to survive the storm. You are here to dance in the rain, to find stillness in chaos, power in surrender, freedom in discipline. The Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. Every scroll, every doubt, every "I'll start tomorrow" writes your destiny. But today you hold the pen. Zen masters say, when you reach the top of the mountain, keep climbing. Focus isn't a destination. It's the art of falling in love with the climb. The world will try to drown you in noise. But your breath is an anchor. Your goals are a compass. Your mind is a garden. Only you can tend it. So ask yourself, will you let life happen to you? Or will you happen to life? The way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart. Buddha. A student once asked, "Master, how do I find peace?" The master replied, "Stop losing yourself in what the world wants, and start finding yourself in what your soul needs." If this stirred something in you, like, share, and scream yes in the comments if you're ready to focus like a master. Subscribe to Insightful Journey and join a tribe of seekers turning chaos into clarity. Your journey begins now, but only if you choose to begin.